relative to the wide receivers, they haven't taken a guy above the third round, and now you're throwing darts. If you don't take a wide receiver in one of the first 2 rounds, I mean, I think everybody would agree, the NFL is a passing league. You haven't taken a quarterback early in the draft since Baker Mayfield. Now you thought you had him in Deshaun Watson, and you haven't taken a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds or in the first 2 rounds since like Corey Coleman, who was a bust.
Yeah, because Andrew Berry thought he found, and to some degree did find some success with some buy low gambles on veteran wide receivers, like the Amari Cooper trade. Until like the last 10% of Amari Cooper's tenure, which I think that probably had less to do with Amari Cooper than Amari Cooper's surroundings. But the Amari Cooper trade was a freaking home run.
Yep.
And then they kind of got out of the Amari Cooper business at the perfect time too. To get a third round pick for a guy who would retire within a year, that's pretty good. Now you spent that pick on Dylan Gabriel. Maybe that pick could have been spent on a wide receiver or an offensive lineman. I digress. But and I think that was the idea. They were reshuffling that strategy with the Jerry Jeudy trade, right? I think it was a 6th and a 7th for a 6th in return. Don't quote me on the specifics there, but like 2 late round picks, get a late round pick back, get a distressed asset. Jerry Jeudy was 4 years into his career at that point in Denver. He had never had a 1,000-yard receiving season. He had never had a competent quarterback to throw him the ball. Coming out of the draft, he was very highly thought of coming out of Alabama. So it was reasonable. It was a reasonable gamble for a front office that really needed wide receiver help. Still does, by the way, but really needed wide receiver help in the summer of 2024 to say, this guy's young. Even if we're bad, even if we end up bad, and by the way, no one thought they would end up bad at the time they traded for Jerry Jeudy. But whatever timeline they were on, the right version of Jerry Jeudy would have fit them. And for 6 weeks last year with Jameis Winston, who's out there throwing YOLO balls, and Jerry Jeudy's getting behind the defense, it was working, and it was exciting. And it felt like, okay, maybe Andrew Berry won another one here. But that's been the whole thing with Jerry Jeudy. There's always been flashes of the talent, but it's never stuck. It's about consistency. When you're I mean, it's not like again, he's 20, I believe he's 26th in the NFL in average annual salary. The receiver market is exploding right now. He's paid more like a number 2 receiver than he is like a number 1 receiver. But on this team, he is the number 1 receiver, and he is the number 1 reason why fans end up face palming at times during the games, right? It's been the fumble against the Raiders, right? Where he's just moving in slow motion, doesn't feel the guy behind him. Yesterday, it's cold, and maybe he doesn't even expect, because he's not that open. He might not even expect the ball, because the quarterbacks that he's been playing with all season have not been able to get the ball there. But Shedeur Sanders was able to get the ball there. He literally dotted his chest plate, and it slips through the arms and ends up in interception. I mean, that is not that they weren't already like that was if they were ever going to turn that game around, it was in that moment. And then to have that throw result in an interception is just, it's deflating emotionally. It's deflating on the scoreboard, because I think the Bears went and scored on the next drive. It went from 14-3, 20-3, all over. And this season has been so bad. It's a hard one to come back from. And this guy, yards per target, is 161st in the NFL behind Jatavian Sanders, who's like, he might be the Carolina Panthers' number 1 tight end. He's a 2nd-round rookie out of Texas, and him and Tommy Tremble split the work there. I don't think he's better than 54th in like any major receiving category. So however you make the math work, they are paying him way more than he is producing. And by the way, they still owe him, I believe, something like $22 million on that contract before it ends in 2027. So it ain't going anywhere. And who's trading for him right now?
Right. Yeah. No, nobody.